You sit down to watch an English movie, you tell yourself, this time I'm not gonna use subtitles. You feel motivated, you feel ready, you press play, you focus, you listen carefully, and after the first few seconds, your brain says, wait, what did they just say? You rewind, you listen again, still unclear. You try one more time, and then slowly, almost automatically, your hand moves to the subtitle button. And the moment the text appears on the screen, everything suddenly becomes easy again. You understand the sentence, you recognize the words, you even think, oh, that was actually simple. And that's the moment that hurts the most. Because you realize the problem was never vocabulary. The words were familiar, the grammar was basic. So the question becomes much deeper. If you already know English, why does real spoken English feel like a completely different language? This experience is incredibly common. It happens to people who studied English for years. People who can read articles, pass exams, write essays, and understand YouTube videos when the speaker is slow and clear. But the moment English becomes real, emotional, fast, connected, or imperfect, everything falls apart. Movies, series, interviews, casual conversations. Suddenly, English feels like noise instead of language. And the reason is not because English movies are too hard. The real reason is that your brain was trained for the wrong type of English. Most learners grow up with what I call classroom English. English that is clean, controlled, slow, and carefully pronounced. Every word is separated. Every sentence is complete. Every sound is clear. This kind of English is excellent for reading and grammar practice, but it is nothing like real life. Real English is fast, it's reduced, it's emotional, it's consistent. People don't pronounce everything. They connect sounds, they drop letters, they shorten phrases, they change rhythm depending on mood. They interrupt each other. They mumble, they whisper, they speak with attitude. So when someone says, what are you doing in life? They don't actually say every word clearly. It becomes, what you doing? When someone says, did you eat yet? It sounds like, did you eat yet? When someone says, I am going to call her, you often hear, I'm going to call her. These are not special slang forms. This is simply how English naturally sounds when spoken by real people. If your brain has never been trained to recognize these sound patterns, it doesn't matter how many words you know. You are not hearing English, you are hearing unfamiliar sound. That's why so many learners say, I can read English, but I can't understand when people speak. Because reading and listening are not the same skill. Reading gives you clear visual words, listening gives you flowing sounds, and your brain needs separate training for both. Subtitles make this problem even more complicated. At the beginning, subtitles feel helpful. They feel supportive, they feel like a smart learning tool. But over time, they quietly change how your brain works. When subtitles are on, your eyes become dominant. Your brain follows the text, your ears become secondary. You think you're practicing listening, but you're actually practicing fast reading. So you might watch hundreds of hours of English content, yet your listening barely improves because your ears were never forced to work. Your brain always chose the easier path, text instead of sound. There's also another hidden enemy here. The idea that you must understand everything. Many learners approach movies like an exam. They believe that if they miss a word, they have failed. They pause, they rewind, they overthink. And this creates tension. That tension blocks natural comprehension. But in real life, nobody understands every word. Even native speakers don't. They understand meaning. They follow context, they catch key information, they fill in the gaps naturally. When you listen in your own language, you don't analyze each word. You trust your brain to follow the story. But with English, many learners don't trust their brain at all. They try to control everything consciously, and that kills the flow. Another major issue is real-time translation. Many learners listen to English while their brain is constantly trying to convert everything into their own language, sentence by sentence, word by word. That process is extremely slow, and movies are extremely fast, so your brain is always behind. You are processing sentence 1 while the characters are already speaking sentence 4. And after a few minutes, everything feels impossible. This creates a very painful belief. Maybe I'm just bad at listening. But the truth is much simpler. You were never trained properly for real listening. Listening is not something you either have or don't have. Listening is a skill, and skills are built through the right type of repetition. When your brain starts hearing real English regularly, not once, not twice, but constantly, something slowly begins to change. At first, everything still sounds fast, but you start recognizing small patterns, common expressions, familiar rhythm, repeated structures. Your brain starts predicting what's coming next. It stops trying to translate everything. It starts focusing on meaning instead of individual words. You begin to notice that you don't need to understand everything to understand enough. You can follow the story, you can understand the emotion, you can feel the intention behind the words. And that's when comprehension becomes natural instead of forced. One day you're watching something and you suddenly realize that you're not reading, you're not translating, you're not analyzing, you're just watching, just listening, just following, and that moment feels different. It feels lighter, it feels real, it feels like English is finally becoming a language instead of a subject. That moment doesn't come from more grammar, it doesn't come from more vocabulary lists. It comes from training your ears to accept real English as normal. Understanding English movies without subtitles is not a talent. It's not a special gift. It's not something only advanced learners can do. It's simply the result of correct exposure, correct expectations, and patience with the process. You don't need to understand every word. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to feel lost every time. You just need to train your brain for sound instead of text. Because when you do, English stops sounding like noise. It starts sounding like language. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.